I'm going to be talking today about how the government and the civil service are managing the process of Brexit. I'm going to start off talking about the context for the civil service. Since the 2010 election, numbers of civil servants have declined to the lowest level since World War II. But after the referendum in 2016, that started to pick up again, and departments are now recruiting en masse to deal with Brexit. For some departments, the Department of the Environment, for example, EU regulations make up the bulk of their work, so they need a lot more people to manage our extraction from the EU. I'm also going to talk about how the civil service is managing both the negotiations and implementing numerous possible outcomes of those negotiations. Up till now, negotiations have been held very tightly in Brussels between the Department for Exiting the European Union, David Davis's department, and a couple of others, particularly the Treasury and the Home Office. But as we move through the transition negotiations and discussions on the future relationship, it's likely that that will broaden out to involve the Environment Department, the Business Department, the Scottish and Welsh devolved governments, even potentially local authorities around the whole country. And the civil service is going to have to do a big job to manage how that interacts. In terms of what they're implementing, the government has been clear that it's preparing for no deal and will continue preparing for no deal until that option is completely off the table. That means the civil service is spending money, is recruiting people, and soon they'll have to start actually building infrastructure at the border, building new IT systems, so that if the UK does leave the EU with no deal, if negotiations do break down, then the border will still function, people will still be able to come through airports, so on and so forth. At the same time, because that isn't the government's main objective, the civil service also has to prepare for a negotiated outcome. At this stage, because we're in negotiations, we don't know what that negotiated outcome will be, meaning that the civil service is working to an uncertain time frame on lots of different potential options. Finally, I'm going to finish off with some of the findings of a piece of work that we're doing at the Institute for Government about how Whitehall is managing Brexit. We're going to be looking at some of the political uncertainties that they face, given the minority government, the reliance on the DUP, and Labour's changing position on Brexit. There's a lot of uncertainty as to what the government's position will be going forward, which is affecting how the civil service can do its job. We'll also be looking at the need for new people, both in terms of the sheer numbers of civil servants, but also what are the specific skills that the civil service needs as it works to implement Brexit. And finally, we're going to be looking at how things will need to change as we move through the negotiating phases and as the UK leaves the EU, what that is likely to mean for the whole structure of government within Whitehall and around the country.